We welcome you into season preview, looking at the Carlow 2025 softball campaign. I'm Sean Meyers, joined by the seventh-year head man, Glenn Zinsmeister. And first off, thanks for doing this once again. I'm sure it's always an exciting time of year for you. So how's everything going?
Everything's going good so far. We're beginning workouts. We're doing some stuff out in the bubble with Green Tree, trying to get our feet under us and get ready to head down south the second week of March.
A year ago, Celtics went 500 in the AMCC, a little below 500 overall, but still, I would imagine there's a lot to be happy about. So how did you evaluate how the season went?
I thought it went really well, especially in the AMCC. Our total record's a little deceptive. We do start with usually 8 or 10 games in Florida, and it's really hard to get your motor started down there. You haven't been on the dirt, you've been inside a bubble playing on the turf. You get down to Florida, you're on the dirt. It's a big adjustment for the girls. And on top of it, the competition that we saw from a D3 perspective in Florida last year, I think of the 8 teams we played, I think 5 of them were regional qualifiers. So it was really top-notch Division Three. But overall, I think the season went pretty well. Overall, as a team, I thought we played well, we gelled well, and the journey was pretty good.
How does the team get even better this year? What was the focus for improvement?
I think the real focus is just offensively. I mean, we got to hit better. We got to hit better in those clutch situations. I can't remember the exact total, but we left a lot of runners on base, a lot of runners in scoring position last year, where we started rallies and then we fizzled out for some reason. And I think we need to figure out ways to focus and get ourselves to hitting line drives over the second baseman's head for singles and start driving those runs in. And that's really what our focus is going to be here in the offseason.
Most coaches or players that I've talked to really like the change with the AMCC as a new conference. How did you evaluate it? What were the takeaways?
I think the biggest thing for the college athlete really surrounds around their academics. I mean, our travel is probably 1/3 of what it was when we were in the River States Conference. And I love the River States Conference. I have many friends there, and I love the competition. But the road warrior travel stuff was a little bit difficult. So I think for them, it allows them to relax a little bit more and allows them to perform also on the softball field because they're not as uptight about getting their homework done while we're in the bus on the road somewhere far, far and away. So that's probably the biggest thing. The other thing is what we found was I think that the parity in that conference is probably a lot closer than the parity was in the River States Conference. We should be able to compete year over year in the AMCC and be at least a middle of the road team or above. And that's really what our focus is to be somewhere in that top grouping. Again, this year we're still on our second year of probation. We won't be able to qualify for the Division Three stuff, but again, we want to use this as a stepping stone and as a measure for us moving forward, because our goal will be to obviously go to the conference championship and then eventually to be a regional team, and that's really what we want to do.
So you had some notable players who moved on from last year. Maddie Bose, Claire Niglio come to mind. What void was created by their absence?
It's actually interesting, I think. So first of all, obviously, their presence in the room. I'll use a hockey term. Their presence in the room. They were obviously captains. They were leaders. They were here for 4 years. Maddie always provided that clutch offensive stuff. Claire as well. Claire's biggest contribution to us always on the hill as a pitcher. I mean, she pitched a lot of innings for me over 4 years. So obviously that comfort in both of those will be certainly missed. But I think that we have seniors this year and juniors this year and some young folks that I think are going to be able to fill that void for us.
Well, let's talk about that. First, lineup and position player wise, who are the veterans, the returners that you're leaning upon?
So we have a group of seniors, 4 seniors that I'll call out that batted really well for us and played strong in the field. Obviously, our 3 captains that were chosen by the team this year, Megan Pollinger, Fran Beighley, and McKenna Pierce. McKenna really controls us behind the plate from a catcher perspective. Megan has become, she came to us as a pitcher first baseman, and we've made her an outfielder, and she's become a very good outfielder, and she's very good offensively. And Fran is our steady defensive leader on the infield from second base, and also an offensive threat. And then Bella Cartieri played third base for us last year, which she plays it very well. And she was right up there with those captains from offensive statistically. And I expect the same thing from her. And she brings a little bit of a fiery edge to her, which I think is really good for us as just a team and how we approach games.
You mentioned Clara, an innings eater throughout her time here in the circle. So she's gone. What pitchers that have been here with you previously are you going to count on even more this year?
So, I think, unfortunately, one of our sophomores, Justina Giles, is going to miss the season due to an injury. She would have eaten a lot of innings, but we have a junior, Tatum Wiggs. She has steadily gotten better every year, and I expect big things from her. She's a first baseman and a pitcher. She's gonna pitch a lot of innings for us. We were lucky enough to have a graduate student come to us who has a year of eligibility left, and she happened to be the #1 inning eater for St. Vincent last year, and she'll pitch a lot for us this year and also play shortstop. That's Haley Bicko. And then we have a freshman, Anna Schumacher, who I'm expecting to be able to pitch and pitch well for us. Pollinger will still have the ability to pitch some when we need her in a relief. And we also have Sam Tressler, who's a senior, and she's pitched a lot of meaningful innings for us, mostly from a relief perspective, but we'll get a lot of use out of her this year as well.
So you mentioned a transfer, you mentioned a freshman. What are the expectations that you have for the newcomers to this team?
This year, I need you to contribute because we have we've gone through a little bit of a transition, and I don't know what I don't want to blame it on the pandemic and COVID, but I'm going to. We went through some times, that where my sophomore and junior class are light compared where I would usually have them. And we just had some kids, I think, that came through those areas that just decided that softball wasn't for them anymore, and they kind of stepped away. The good thing is they're still academically in school here for the most part, or somewhere. They just decided not to play softball, and again, I don't know what's driving that. I don't think it's anything that we do here because we're kind of. I always kid people we're kind of softball light. I mean, we don't practice 6 days a week. We try to take academics first. But because of that, I've got a roster of 14 this year. So we got to stay healthy. Injuries can't be a big thing because we just don't have a lot of ways to move. And those freshmen are going to have to be flexible, be utility players, and we're going to need them to produce for us in different places.
What are the expectations for the team?
To me, it's always about taking one more step forward than you did the year before. So, we were 9-9 in the conference. I would say on the short end, I'd like to be 10-8 in the conference. I certainly would like to be a little bit better than that. But 10-8, I would call a success for the year. And we would like to improve that non-conference record as well. Again, we play a lot of tough teams when we go to Florida, but we want to try to put ourselves in a position that we're ready to compete in Florida. The other thing I think it's going to be good this year is there's a little disadvantage to the short roster, but the advantage to it is people should get more repetitions. And that means that we should probably hit our stride a little sooner than we have in years past. And I think that'll be helpful for us.
Well, you mentioned the AMCC, the hope that you go over 500 in it. When you look at the opponents in the conference, what kind of jumps out?
Penn State Barron is, of course, to me, they're probably the cream of the crop in the conference. They have, year over year, they've been successful. We played them well last year. We just didn't play well enough. So we know we need to hit a little bit better to get past them. And so they're probably right now, they're the team that I think about the most. Pitt Bradford is always a good team. We split with them last year, first conference game of the year. It was early in the season for them. We play them a little bit later this year, but again, I expect at least a split out of them. Pitt Greensburg always gives us battles. I mean, Chuck and his team out there are always a scrappy team, and we kind of battle back and forth. Penn State Altoona historically has been a pretty good team. We played well against them last year. I suspect that we'll hopefully do the same thing this year. Some other, obviously Hilbert and Alfred. They're again teams that we should at least split with, and that's really where my expectation would be there.
Lastly, maybe you're better suited to answer this question about 2 months from now, but I'll ask it now. What will make Carlow special this year?
I think if we stay together as a team, play the game that we know how to play, but most importantly, enjoy that time together as a unit and create those memories. That'll make it. That's what really makes it special every year. I talk to the girls a lot about the journey all the time, and we all want to win, but we want to have a good journey. And sometimes you can lose games and the journey's still good. But again, our goal is to always win. And for us this year, I mean, our pinnacle will be the USCAAs again at the end of the year. We certainly want to qualify for that, and we certainly want to push ourselves to a position that we again extend in the USCAAs and with being qualified for the D3 stuff postseason next year. I mean, I would like to say I'd like to go win the NC or the USCAA, but we'll see what happens.
Well, Glenn, hopefully it is a great season for you and for the Celtics.
I hope so very much. I appreciate having the chance to talk to you, and I look forward to seeing you at the game.
Absolutely. Glenn Zinsmeister, the head coach for the Celtics, right here on the season preview. We continue here on the season preview looking at the 2025 Carlow softball campaign. Sean Meyers joined by McKenna Pierce, one of the seniors for the Celtics. First off, thanks for doing this again. Good to talk to you. How's everything been going?
It's good. It's good. Yeah. Just started senior year. Well, the second semester of senior year. And everything's going good. Got engaged over Christmas break.
So that's
I
exciting.
see
the
Yep.
nice ring.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So you've got a lot of good stuff going on, and hopefully that includes this upcoming softball season. Last year was a really good one for you as well. You had a lot of power. You led the team in home runs, RBIs as well. What was kind of key to that success at the plate, especially with the power game?
I felt that I really just tried to take it the moment at a time. Like I never really tried to like push. Obviously, sometimes when you're in those stressful situations, you are trying to push and you're trying to like make it better for the team. But I feel like over my last 3 years of like coming through, I was just so worried about everything. And I feel like last year I was able just to relax and breathe and just play how I always know how to play.
You have been a player who has a lot of versatility defensively. You play catcher, and a lot of times catchers, that's all they do, but you've also played some shortstop. So what's that been like, kind of shifting back and forth, and how are you able to pull it off?
Sometimes it can get very stressful. When I came into Carlow, I was actually recruited as a shortstop. And then my sister, she decided to tell Coach Glenn that I was also able to catch. So then that's how I kind of got thrown into the catching position. And now I feel that catching is like my first position and then shortstop's my second. So obviously whenever I get thrown out to shortstop, I do get nervous, like how I was whenever I first started catching. But I feel that I just have to be able to switch my brain too, to be like, okay, I'm not behind the plate. I gotta play in the field and do the stuff that I need to do in the field. So I feel like it's a really big like mind switch.
I know you said you achieved a lot personally in the offseason, but in terms of preparation for this softball season, what have you really focused on for how you can get even better?
I feel that our biggest thing, at least as a team, is we want to really stress communication. The infield has worked together for a very long time. There's not a lot of new infielders. There's only like one new freshman that's an infielder. And the outfield's a lot of new people meshing together. Megan's the oldest one out there, so that's going to be a big like meshing thing. They got to be able to work together. So I feel that our biggest thing would be kind of like going as a whole and communicating. And I feel like that's our biggest thing in years past too. So
I know you said there's going to be a lot of newcomers to the Celtics who are probably going to see time, particularly in the outfield. What expectations do you have from that group?
I feel that my just biggest expectation is just going with the flow. I feel that everyone gets tossed around, everyone gets moved to a different position, and I feel that being able to have the mindset of, okay, wherever I'm put in during the game, I'm going to make the best that I can out of that position and the best that I can for my team. And I really want everyone just to think very team oriented rather than me or an I game.
What are the objectives that you have this year for yourself and for the Celtics as a whole?
I feel that we just need to let loose and just play the game we have been playing for countless number of years. And I just really want us, we are a small team. There's only, I think, like 13, 14 of us and that are healthy. And I just really want us to just let loose and play the game that we love.
I know you've probably had some shining moments throughout your career so far, Carlo. What comes to mind as maybe your favorite to this point?
I would have to say just going to Florida and being with the team every year. I feel that Florida is a very important time for us in the season, we're able to, one, mesh as a team because we do a lot of team bonding and we get to learn more about everyone on the team, especially the new people coming in. And it's just a very big opportunity for us to, one, grow closer on the field and also be able to understand the skills that we have and things that we can build upon through the rest of the season.
Lastly, let's talk about your head coach, Glenn Zinsmeister. What are his best qualities?
I would have to say he cares so deeply about each and every one of us, and it's all on a different ways. Like a lot of us are nursing students, and he is there for us no matter what. He knows that nursing school is very, very hard and very, very challenging. So he will make sure that whatever we have going on that day or anything like that is, if we're okay in school, then we're good to play some softball. So I feel like that's a very big thing for him. He's always worried about our school first and then worried about softball.
Well, hopefully you and your teammates have great success both as students and as softball players this upcoming season.
Yes, I do too. I hope everything goes great.
That is McKenna Pierce, a senior for the Celtics, here on the season preview. We continue with the season preview. Sean Meyers joined by Fran Beighley, a second baseman and a senior for the Celtics, here on the season preview. And first off, thanks for taking the time. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm sure you're very excited for the upcoming season. But first, let's look back at last year. How did you evaluate how you performed in 2024?
I feel like I performed well offensively and defensively to help the team succeed.
Well, certainly you were a big part of being in the lineup just about every single game. So what was key to being a regular and being available for all those contests?
Definitely having my mental headspace ready for every single game. That's a lot of innings to play. Before every single game, on the way there, I would always listen to music, have everything knowing what I had to get done for the games. And I also was always in the trainers, keeping my body in good shape, just trying to stay as healthy as possible.
Sounds like you had a good routine heading into the games. Well, last year it provided a change with a new conference. The AMCC was the new home for Carlow. How did you evaluate that change?
I liked it a lot actually compared to what we had in the past. The games were definitely closer. I think the competition was a lot better for us as a team. We definitely were able to compete way better. And it made it more fun because we could just have fun playing softball and it wasn't as stressful.
Well, with that in mind, what are the goals this year for yourself and for the Celtics?
I hope to do even better than I did last year. I hope to have a higher batting average, staying consistent, same with fielding. And then for the team, since it's my senior year, I just want to have fun, and I hope same with everyone else, can just have fun and just play our best.
Is there a game or a few games that you're most looking forward to this year?
Definitely our games in Florida, just because it's nice to play in Florida, and just see what everyone can do. And then probably my senior night, because I don't know, I feel like that's just something I look forward to, being a senior.
No doubt, absolutely. Well, you mentioned Florida.
Yeah.
And so that's a regular trip every year for the Celtics. More or less, you start your season down there. What do you like most about that trip?
It's great for the girls to get to know each other. We have a whole set of new freshmen, and I can't wait to get to know them. We do a lot of team bonding, and it's definitely a long week of playing softball. We're all tired. We get so run down, but everyone's just there for each other. And even just our meals, having our team meals are just so much fun. And I don't know, we always just end up making so many memories.
Well, lastly, fill in the blank. This will be a successful season for Carlow if
we can make it to USCAAs, I would be very happy to be there again for the fourth year.
Certainly, I know the Celtics had some success there last year. Fran, thanks so much for doing this. We appreciate it. Good luck heading into your senior season.
Thank you.
That is Fran Beighley for the Celtics here on the season preview. We continue with the season preview, looking ahead at the 2025 softball campaign here at Carlow. Sean Meyers joined by senior outfielder and pitcher Megan Pollinger. First off, how's everything going with you?
It's going great. Senior year, I'm excited to get after it and see how it goes.
Well, it should be a very good senior year for you. I know last year you had some bright spots as well. How did you evaluate how you played in 2024?
I think it was a year of adversity. I was moving positions a lot, but I had to do what was best for the team. So it was definitely challenging, but I think I just took the bull by the horns and did the best I could and succeeded.
What do you think your role is going to be this year?
I think this year, actually, we had our first practice on Sunday, and I was the only senior in the outfield. The rest were freshmen. So I think it's a big leadership role this year for me. I want to be someone the freshmen can look up to. And of course, everyone has their flaws, but it's about how you handle those flaws. So I think just being a leader and being a good role model for them.
So a year ago, the Celtics had some success in the USCAA Small College World Series, winning 3 games. How important was that for this team?
I think it was very important. We made it further than the year prior, which was great. Just being at USCAA, the whole environment, the experience is amazing, and I wish every sport at Carlow could experience that. So just having a better season than the season prior is great. This year, I'm hoping we can win 4 games and maybe even go further than that. But we'll just have to see how the season goes.
Well, you've had some really good seasons at Carlow. Which of your teammates do you think maybe will have a breakout year this year?
Oh my. This year, I think Tatum Wiggs. We lost Clara Niglio as a pitcher last year, and she carried the majority of our innings for us. So I think she's really going to have to step it up. And towards the end of the year, we did see that come from her. But I think both offensively and defensively, she's really going to shine this year. She's grown tremendously as a player since she's been a freshman, so I'm excited to see how she does.
What are the goals this year for you and for the team?
Oh wow. I think this year for me, I just want to be very vocal. Um, Someone needs to always lead the way. So whether that's being vocal or leading by example, I think I can do both of those this season. I hope I can at least. And then as a team, there's only 12 of us this year. We've went through tremendous change. So it's going to be a lot of teamwork and working together. And that's going to maybe show our flaws a little bit, but it's all about how you handle that. You just got to laugh about it, and it happened, it's over with, so you just got to move on. So I think working together is really going to benefit us this season.
Lastly, what's your favorite aspect of being here and playing softball for Carlow?
I love Carlow because of its location, education, and I can play the sport I love. I've been playing softball for as long as I can remember, while also being a nursing major. A lot of colleges don't let you do that, so it's really nice. And Coach Glenn, he does great working with us. He's a nurse himself, so he knows what we're going through. He's been through it. That's really beneficial. And then being in Oakland, you're surrounded by Pitt. It's a college town, so it's very fun, very exciting.
Well, hopefully it's a very fun and very exciting season for you as well, Megan. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
That is
Thank you.
Megan Pollinger, a senior for the Celtics, here on the season preview.